Now, the main reason that this company has been developed is because we think it's important that everyone on this planet has access to financial education. We think that the current educational system is broken. Now, why is that? Most of us live in the employee factory, and that means that we get an hourly pay from 9 to 5 for 40 hours a week, and in the end we hope that we get enough pension to live off. Here you can see that the degree of education is much lower with people that have low incomes. They will be less likely to have good education to develop themselves. Because of this, we see the gap between levels of living standards grow bigger and bigger. People with low education are less likely to become successful, while people with high education are very likely to become successful. What is so very extreme about this is that it's actually the same picture. In many places of the world, we see the gap between rich and poor get bigger and bigger. If we don't do anything about this, this will grow by the day. That's why we have to look at new ways to change the financial system and to get more education for everyone.
Hey, right. You. Do you know who I am? We've known each other for a long time. It might be scary to talk about me. Sometimes it's not easy to be something that everyone wants, to be an object of desire, or in other cases, of anger. Still, I will always be present in your life, in hundreds of ways, and in constant evolution. It all started with the exchange of goods, remember? Yes, that's what you call barter. Food, tools, stone, you would exchange some goods for others. But that barter system had two important drawbacks: the difficulty of establishing the value of the goods, and the time you would lose while seeking to match the offers. The goods and services were exchanged for precious metals, gold and silver, since those didn't deteriorate over time, and could be easily transported and divided into pieces to optimize the payments. The possibility to falsify precious metals was very high, and so, to avoid fraud, gold and silver coins were issued with a seal guaranteeing their weight, and best of all, their legality. Artisans and merchants would keep the coins of their customers in their homes, providing a receipt that would accredit the ownership of the money. This is how the first banks were created. Many people don't know that banks lend a kind of virtual money, money that doesn't really exist. When financial bubbles burst, banks would always recover their assets, but we, the citizens, wouldn't get anything.
So the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. We never learned at school what money really is. How does it work and what does it mean to invest? We have to know, what if we lose our money? What will happen when the current bank system fails, and what if the value of our money keeps dropping? Where and when will these financial bubbles burst, and how can we work towards something that we trust? In the next video, you will hear Godfrey Bloom talk about what is really happening with the banks.
For the EFD, Mr. Bloom has 2 minutes.
Commissioner, Mr. President, I rise again, I'm afraid, to make the same old hoary speech that I've been making here for several years, and that is, it is my opinion that you do not really understand the concept of banking. All the banks are broke. Bank Santander, Deutsche Bank, Royal Bank of Scotland, they're all broke. And why are they broke? It isn't an act of God. It isn't some sort of tsunami. They're broke because we have a system called fractional reserve banking, which means that banks can lend money that they don't actually have. It's a criminal scandal, and it's been going on for too long. To add to that problem, you have moral hazard, a very significant moral hazard from the political sphere. And most of the problem starts in politics and central banks, which are part of the same political system. We have counterfeiting, sometimes called quantitative easing, but counterfeiting by any other name. The artificial printing of money, which if any ordinary person did, they'd go to prison for a very long time. And yet governments and central banks do it all the time. Central banks repress the amount of interest that rates are, so we don't have the real cost of money. And yet we blame the real retail banks for manipulating LIBOR. The sheer effrontery of this is quite astonishing. It's central banks that manipulate interest rates, Commissioner. And plus, underneath all this, we talk loosely, in a rather cavalier fashion, do we not, about deposit guarantees. So when banks go broke through their own incompetence and chicanery, the taxpayer picks up the tab. It's theft from the taxpayer. And until we start sending bankers, and I include central bankers and politicians, to prison for this outrage, it will continue.
And this was exactly why Success Factory has been created. You just have heard Godfrey Bloom talk about the problems that we face today with the banks and all of the games that they play to manipulate the markets. How they are able to do this, and what most people don't know, is that money is not backed by gold anymore. It was used to represent the value of supply and demand. Until in 1971, when President Nixon declared to disconnect the fiat money or bank money from the supply of gold. Banks could start printing money and as a result create enormous inflations all over the world. But all of us are getting smarter and we deserve a transparent payment system. That means it has a fixed amount with fast transactions, low transaction fees, with advanced privacy, it's accessible for everyone and has a global connectivity so that we can pay each other all over the world.
Today, we live in a digital society that has completely changed our habits. Mobile phones, email, online payments, and the internet, which are part of our everyday lives. We're facing a digital revolution full of incredible opportunities. Impossible to falsify, out of the control of banks, governments, and other financial institutions. It's digital money designed for the digital era. Cryptocurrencies arise. The advantages of cryptocurrencies are many. Large companies allow their use, such as PayPal, Google, etc. However, all the transactions made in digital money are transparent. The fee is minimal, and there is no risk of inflation. All this means a world of opportunities for everybody. The trend is evolving rapidly, giving rise to the most secure and most powerful cryptocurrency, DAGCOIN. The most advanced technology, the DAG chain. And financial education is the key to everything. The more usable it is, the higher its value. It can now be used all over the world. More advanced, modern, and innovative. Founded by Chris Ress and Niels Grossberg.
You people are amazing. Thank you all to be here.
How are your emotions?
Improving the lives of people and reaching every corner of the world. Developed in Estonia, a well-known IT hub. The first country to offer a transnational digital identity available to anyone in the world interested in managing an online business. Estonia was the first nation to hold legal general elections via the internet. The price of a cryptocurrency depends on the demand. There may be a real demand only if the currency offers a solution for the final consumer. DAGCOIN is the first cryptocurrency that is capable of being a world currency for everyday use.
As you could see, because of today's possibilities with the internet, digital currencies were created to make cheaper and easier transactions.